Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. But before I begin, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you can know when my next video uploads. And if you like the video, come down in the comment section so we can have a conversation. And I'm going to need y'all to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe, y'all. So before I begin, I would like to say anything that I say is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Hey everybody, welcome to my review of Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 6, All Bets Are Off. So we have Teresa meeting with her therapist. She talks about the wedding and she says she's really happy. This is the happiest she's ever been. She's been going to therapy for 6 months. She says Louis has calmed her down. Teresa wants her children to grow up with her cousins because they did not grow up with their cousins. That came from her letting the therapist know that her and her brother are not getting along, and that when she's around her brother, his temper is really scary to her, and she doesn't want that in her life. She says she don't want that toxicity because it hurts. So the therapist tells her to talk to him, and if he doesn't come around or listen, she has to move on. And I agree. Yes, family is everything, but if family ain't contributing to your life, you have to do what you got to do for you and what's best for your family. And that's that. And the fact that y'all been arguing about the same shit since season 1 is just, yeah, it's time to move on, okay? And Melissa don't help it. None, okay? Because I think she's jealous of Teresa too. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Anyway, we move on to Margaret and Jennifer Fletcher. They meet up at Margaret's house. Margaret could not help but to mention Jennifer in their conversation about their falling out last year at the Jen falling at the charity event last year. She just gotta mention Jennifer A's name. Anyway, Jennifer Fletcher lets Margaret know that the display at her brunch was not her. Lies. Margaret is like that all the time. That is Margaret, okay? She acts that way all the doggone time. Then we flip to a scene with Jen A and her husband. She tells her husband not to be so nice to Margaret and tells him about the brunch at Jen Fletcher's house and how Margaret and her argument went. Jen A feels like no one had her back at the brunch because Margaret has said stuff all the time. So Margaret has stuff on all of them. So they stay quiet all the time. And I believe it. Margaret seems like she get all the details about everybody else. But when somebody spills some tea on her, it's World War III. Okay. So we move on to Dolores and Paul. They call him Paulie. Okay. Dolores' dad comes over to Paulie's house. We found out that Paul has to have heart surgery and will not be at the charity event. The dad said that the family will always be there for him. Whatever he needs, the family is there for him. Her father says to Dolores she seems very happy. She's happier than she's ever been. So Dolores lets her father know that she is very happy with the man that Paulie is. They bring up Frank and how their relationship has changed. And Dolores said it's out of respect for Paul. And that's only right. I don't know why Frank expect Dolores to keep going out her way for him. He has a whole girlfriend now that she's in a new relationship, and she's doing the right thing. She has to respect Paulie's wishes if she really wants to be with this man. So Frank gonna have to get over it, okay? So there's a batting cage date, okay, with Joe and Melissa, Rachel and her husband John, and Frank and his girlfriend. So I guess they're practicing for the charity event or whatever. Frank can't help but bring up Dolores and how their relationship has changed and how he missed their relationship and feels like it's messing up their family dynamic. And in my head, I'm like, how? You still the kid's father. You could still be a father to your children, which, by the way, I believe your children are grown now. But anyway, Dolores shouldn't even have nothing to do with your relationship. But anyway, they do some batting and then they come to the table to eat. And here comes Rachel with her gossiping ass. She said that Teresa and Jen was giving her warnings about being friends with Margaret. And here goes Melissa. That's what she needed, okay? She says that Teresa hates Margaret, she hates me, and she hates Joe. And she's not rolling with that fake parade Teresa is rolling with. Girl. Rachel said that, Teresa said to make your own choice, but to proceed with caution. Then in her confessional, she gonna turn around and say she didn't ask for their opinions and she's not afraid of anybody. So my question is, why did you even bring it up if you ain't want nobody's opinion? You knew they were gonna say something. You should have just shut your mouth if you didn't want their opinion. Anyway, Rachel then claims she's not going to be influenced. It seems like you're being influenced, I have to say. You seem like you seem very influenced to come against Jennifer A. Because every time she say something to you, you running back telling people stuff that she said. So I ain't buying that you ain't influenced stuff, okay? Then we have the charity event. Danielle asks Margaret if everything is going to be okay since what happened at Jen F's brunch or whatever. Danielle brings up that Teresa said that Margaret is a better friend than an enemy. Of course, Margaret in her confessional said that Teresa shouldn't talk. And of course, the producers flashback of Teresa and her mini blow-ups. Okay. Danielle says she do not want to come into a friendship where you're digging up her past. It's not cool. And then Margaret says, as long as you don't get on my bad side or something like that, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Listen, Danielle, if you ain't hear what she just said, then it is what it is. Teresa and Jennifer A., they steering you in the right direction, okay? And of course, Rachel just got to get in this scene and let Margaret know that they said that she sway people. Girl, you talking about you ain't a girl. Go ahead with you trying to win a spot on the show, permanent spot, but okay. Joe goes running, him and his son, as soon as he see Teresa walks in. He talks about Teresa switches up at the drop of a dime and he don't want to deal with that. Child, and then the next scene is hilarious because they all greet each other like family would. Okay, it's because it's a charity event. And I don't think Teresa would have did anything either way. It's Joe that's still harboring all this anger. Teresa going to therapy and you probably need to go to therapy too. Anyway, Rachel lets Jen A know that her daughter told her that she wants to be a love therapist for couples. Jen A says she didn't want to tell her kids about the infidelity for just this reason. She doesn't know how it will affect their children. When her and her husband argue, her daughter will say things like, remember you two still love each other. She wanted to protect her children but she couldn't because of Margaret. Dolores lets everyone know that Paulie is not going to be there because he's having heart surgery. Franks has to mention again that he missed their relationship. He lets Dolores know that he cried because she didn't text him back. He even got emotional standing there. Child, you need to get over it. Mr. Grown Man, like get over it. Your whole woman standing there and you crying. Anyway, Teresa calls her nephew over, little Joey, to ask him if he lightened his hair. And she and her daughters, they dote over him while the camera's panning to Joey and Melissa, and they looking uncomfortable with their son being over there talking to his aunt and their cousins. Like, y'all are ridiculous. Gia said that it seems like Melissa and Joe are trying to pull a wedge between them, and it does not sit well with her. Like, listen, the kids, y'all think the kids don't notice stuff, but the kids be noticing, okay? So they start the game. And I believe the Real Housewives of New Jersey, they won the game, the charity event. Jen A and Bill go to therapy. Bill did not want to be there, but said this is their reality. Bill finding out that his daughter Olivia was affected by the infidelity made him want to come. We find out that Olivia found out on TikTok of what Margaret said about the father having the infidelity. Anyway, they talking to the therapist and pretty much the husband stays quiet. Jen A says she's had it up to her neck with Bill and not being involved with the kids and taking stuff for over 20 years. And in my mind, I'm like, see, this is what happens when women sit back and let the men do whatever they want to do. And then when they finally get fed up 20 years later, they want to complain. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. You let him get away with so much, what you want him to do now? All right, you have to set your standards early on, and those standards can be adjusted along the way, but it sounds like communication has stopped between the two of them. So basically, they agreed to come back to counseling, and then that was the end of the scene. Listen, That's all I got. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. Again, I appreciate all my subscribers. See you in the next video. Peace.